Now that you've got those boxes finished, we're ready to transfer our threads to the end, and then we are going to do exactly what we did on the top all the way around the sides, the other end, and all the way down the other side. So it says to stitch both needles to where they're exiting out of the left hand round of the very end box. So I'm going to take my right hand thread and I'm going to come straight down through the box and then through the very bottom bead and then through this one. Then I'll take that left hand thread and come straight down through one bead so that my needles are exiting opposite sides of that one bead. So I'm going to flip it here so that I can work going this way. So same thing we've been doing, bicone on each needle, and then we pick up one seed bead and cross opposite ways through the seed bead, and then bicone on each needle, and we will cross through the very next round bead. So I'm coming out of this round, so I'm going to come to the very next round bead and cross through it. And remember, keep your thread pulled really good and tight as you work. So now I have my top embellishment, I've got an end embellishment, and now I'm going to keep going with this embellishment all the way around till I get to my last box and finish that last one. Now, I've gone all the way around with my embellishments, and this is what I have so far. And it looks pretty good, except for if you look here to the sides, from the top to the sides, you can see the holes there from where our clear beads are at. So we want to go through and we want to cover some of that up. So what I'm going to do is I want my needles to be exiting a bicone on each end here, the very end box. I want a thread coming out of the top bicone here and one coming out of this one. So the thread that I exited through this last bead here, and I'm going to take one needle, the one coming out towards the top here at the beadwork, and I'm going to come down through the bicone there and then up through the very next one so that there is one thread coming out. And then the thread coming out here to the bottom, I'm going to go up through that bottom bicone, through the seed bead in the center, and then through the other bicone here to the side. So that now I have a thread coming out of each end bicone. And it says on each needle, I'm going to pick up one bicone and go through the first bicones on the top first box. Be sure to pull the thread tight so that the new beads added will pop into place. So basically what that means is I'm going to pick up a bicone, and the thread coming out of this bicone here will come right straight up through this first top bicone of my top box. And I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to pull it good and tight so that it pops into place here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this other needle. I'll pick up my bead. I'm coming out of this bead here, and I'm going to go straight up through that first bead here on the top and pull so that it pops that one into place. So you can see I've already added 2 of my beads. So now with each needle, go through the next bicone in the same box. So what that means is my thread that I'm using right now, I haven't set it down, it's coming out of this bicone here in the box. So I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come right down through that very next bicone in the box on that same side. And then I'll do the same thing on the other end. I'm coming out of this bicone here, so I'll take and go straight down through that next bicone right next to it. Now the thing is, don't go through anything but just the bicone. Pick up one bicone onto each needle and go down through the top bicone in the middle box on the side. Remember to pull the threads tight so that new bead added will pop into place. So I'm going to pick up the bicone. I'm coming out of this bead here, and I'm going to take the needle and see I've got 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3. I want to come through this top bead of the middle box. So I'm going to come through, and you may have to maneuver to get through, but I'm going to come through the bead that's just diagonal to the one that I'm exiting out of right now, and I'm going to pop it and pull it into place. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to pick up my bicone. I'm coming out of this bicone right here. I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to make a diagonal and come straight through that top bead of the middle box. And you may have to just wiggle your needle through there a little bit to get it through, but once you get it through, it's there. So as you can see, that's already covered up one of my holes. Go through the bicone next to the one you are exiting, working towards the other end of the ring. So all that means is the bicone right next to where I'm coming out of, I'm just going to come straight up through it, because I'm going to be adding another bead here in just a second. Now I'll do the same thing on the other side. Pick up a bicone onto each needle and go through the closest bicone on the last top embellishment box. Remember to pull the thread tight so that the new bead will pop into place. So I've picked up my bead. I'm coming out of this bicone here, and I'm going to come to right diagonal to the top box, to the bead closest to where I'm coming out, so that when I pull the thread tight, it pops that bead into place. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side here. Now I'm going to take and go through the next top bicone to get to the end of the ring. So I'm going to go ahead, because my seed bead is here in the center and it's laying this way, I'm going to go ahead and take this needle on my right, and I'm going to go through the seed bead, and then go through the bicone right next to it here on the end. Then I'll do the same thing with the left hand thread. I'm going to go through the seed bead and then through that bicone right next to the other one. So now I'm ready to add my last 2 beads here. So I'm going to pick up a seed bead and I'm going to come right down through. If I'm coming out of this bead here, I'm going to come right down through the top bead of that very end box. Pull tight to pop it into place. And we'll do the same thing with the other needle. Pick up the bead, come straight down, pull good and tight to pop it into place. So now what you want to work on, we've got the top of the oval ring completely finished. You want to work on stitching your needles to where they're exiting opposite sides of one of the middle round beads here on the bottom. Either side, it doesn't matter, but you want to stitch through to where your needles will exit opposite ways of either one of these 2 beads here. So now we're ready to start the band. So the first thing I'll do is I'll pick up a bicone onto each needle and let them fall. And then I'll pick up 1 bicone on 1 needle, and I will cross the needles opposite ways through that one, so that I have a half little box here with the bicones, and then we're ready to start the band. So what we'll do is we're going to pick up 2 seed beads onto each needle, and I'm going to let those drop, and then I'll pick up 2 seed beads onto 1 needle, and I'll pull them off the needle just a little bit, cross the needles opposite ways through those 2, so that now I have a little box. So we'll continue doing this, 2 seed beads on each needle, and let those drop, and then 2 seed beads on 1 needle, and cross opposite ways through those 2 seed beads. And you want to continue on till you have almost the desired length of the band. And on the last time you put the 2 seed beads on each needle, instead of crossing through 2 new ones, you're going to cross through a 4mm bicone. So that way that'll get us started to add the next side here. Now, if this is not your preferred method to do the ring band, do the ring band as you choose. But just keep on going, whichever way you choose, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish off to the other side here. And you do want to make it, especially making your band on Fireline, you want to make it just about a half size smaller than what you normally wear, so you want it to be good and tight on your finger, because if you wear this ring a lot, it will stretch out just a little bit. So you want to make it a little tighter so that way it'll stretch out to be a perfect size. Now that I have the band the length that I need, I finished off the band by, instead of crossing through 2 seed beads, I picked up a 4mm bicone and crossed opposite ways through it. So now it's time to connect it to the other side. So you want to pick up a 4mm bicone onto each needle. And you're going to cross your needles opposite ways through the round bead opposite where you started. So what that means is that I started my band here at this round bead. So I'll cross my needles opposite ways through the one right across from it. Now this may be easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard to get through there, but once you get through there, you're through. So I'm going to cross one needle one way through it, and then I'm going to take the other needle and cross the other way through that round bead. And if you stick your needle through a few beads at one time, don't worry about it. Just pull back out, because it's much easier just to go on through them than it is to try and wiggle through just a single bead. So now that I have my needles crossed through the one bead, you'll want to go back through all the seed beads that you just added for the band to reinforce those beads, so that way it'll give you a little bit extra security. And then tie your needle or tie your threads together, and you'll have a beautiful oval shaped crystal ring. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For more information, you can check out our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com.